So I go do that, and he introduces me to psilocybin, right? And of all things, we go. He picks me up from the airport. Puts 2 pills in my hands. Like, here, take this. I'm like, oh no, man. And he's like, you trust me?
Right off the plane?
Yeah, right off the plane. He's like, do you trust me? I'm like, yeah, I trust you. And he's like, take the 2. So I take one, and then I take another one a little bit after that, right? And we go to see, watch his daughter's school has a play, the new Addams Family play. This was last year, right around Halloween. And it was fantastic, right? I sat the entire time processing my own emotions. I'm in my own head, right? And I have no idea what I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm not even there, right? I'm in myself. And I'm processing all this stuff. And I swear to you, like the next morning, I felt like I lifted the world off my shoulders to some degree.
So did you know when you were going to Arizona that you were going to take psilocybin? No, you didn't?
No, I was going there to something unrelated. Right?
Wow.
And but that really opened up the doors of something completely different, where I ended up going to do some plant therapy, specifically ayahuasca, and that's where I truly met my ego face to face. Was on this journey,
How long ago was this?
It'll be a year in November.
Okay, I was gonna say you said it was recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was able to stand right in front of my ego, and I didn't like what I saw. Like, I wanted to destroy the image of Tim Jensen that was standing in front of me, right? And that was a huge moment in my life, right? There's a couple moments that we all as humans can think back in our lives are very pivotal turning points of our lives, right?
Absolutely.
And that was one of them for me, was when I destroyed myself into 1,000 pieces and it shattered in front of me, and then every ounce of me collapsed to the floor. I think that was a death moment for me, and I killed something of me. I killed a part of me that I think needed to go away.
So when you looked in the mirror and you were confronted with your ego, what parts of it didn't you like?
It felt, what I saw standing in front of me was a broken individual that was hiding from circumstances that he had no control over, and he had built a mask that he was putting on in front of the world, that was hiding the sorrow, the regret, right? All these feelings of a death that he had no control over, right? And he just manifested this world around him that was just destroying his life, and I saw that in front of me, right? And I destroyed it. And when I came out of it, and what I've been living the last year is the best Tim Jensen that has existed on this planet.
That was incredibly valuable. And then with the introduction of other therapies, like psychedelics have changed my entire life. And that was incredibly profound, both for coming to terms with things that have happened, or having an ego death, and then realizing that I'm in control, I'm in the driver's seat. I don't have to continue following the same path. I don't have to continue thinking in the same negative thought loops. I can broaden my perspective, and I can go anywhere and do anything, which has been really cool.
Yeah.
Because before, I thought there was nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
That was if you look back at my journals, it's there's nowhere to go.
Right.
I'm stuck. There's nowhere to go. There was no future.
I think that's a great point, because sometimes in this life you will think you will not be able to see past the darkness. You will not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's always there. Just keep, like you said, keep walking out of that forest, man. You can always take that next step. You can always see what the next step is, and take that next step, and there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel. Even when in your journaling, I can't see my way out of this. It's I promise you there is a way out. And on the other side of that, man, and now I feel like from our conversations, it's overwhelming once you understand how many options you have, right? That you are in control of your life, right? And you can go do whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want.
And that's exciting, but that also creates anxiety too.
Whatever you want. And I've decided this is a choice every day, an active choice, because my body defaults to anxiety. But I've decided that when anxiety comes on, I'm going to view it from the perspective of excitement. And so like that takes work. Like
Yeah.
that's a choice that I have to make. And I think there's a lot of this too, where I thought, again, this is that like victim mentality, or the things are happening to me mentality. I thought that like, okay, I go to therapy, things are different now. I take the psychedelic drugs, things are different now. I jump in the cold water, things are different now. That's not true at all. It's like a gateway to you being able to choose in a different direction. So because of my therapy, now when a situation presents itself that might activate me or might have activated me in the past, I can now choose to perform or act in a different manner. Same thing with like psychedelics. I've learned now that there's more beyond the world that I know, the world that I perceive. And because of that, I can now choose to navigate this world in a different way. I'm the driver, which is the new thing. It's like a new perspective. 28-year-old Ben, who was set on ending his own life, didn't understand that he was in control.
Yeah.
The only thing I could control was ending it. But now, because I've transcended that experience, I can control everything. And that's like such a crazy, like my heart rate just went up a little bit, because I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, you got to do more stuff. And then that kind of plays into the surrender thing. Because I know that I can control the rest of my life and the way that I navigate this world, there's like peace and safety in that, where it's like, okay, you can just like kind of just like chill and experience it and enjoy it and love, like, and just be grateful for what's at your feet. But then like also when presented with situations that like you get to choose, like make the choice. And so like, I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited for like our ability, and especially your ability, to like affect change. You said earlier, like, you're looking ahead at all these crazy things, and all I could think was like, you're going to change the world. And I hope I get to like play a small part in that, but I also hope that like in my own world, I get to make some change too.
Dude, well, we're going to do it together, brother.
Yeah.
In part, like after our conversations, like psychedelics and not the psychedelics of like, I want to go trip balls with my friends.
No.
And like that's not,
I mean, it started that way.
yeah. But like, you know, and however it starts, just like understanding how beneficial it can be for people.
Yeah.
And like, dude, if eating that glass saves your life, like
Give me another glass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like all this stigma around like what can help people, like who cares? Like, dude, like do whatever it is that saves your life. And so for you, from past conversations, you would credit a lot of transformation in your life from psychedelics, which you went into, and then also cold therapy.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the future of cold therapy, because I think it's just like fad now, right? It's like it's like do these hard things, which is 100% true, but like there's a neurological response and hormone response to this thing. So how has that changed your life? Because I feel like that's one of the things you credit to.
Yeah. So I'd say, and I've told you this before, probably in the car on the way here, but therapy and psychedelics saved my life. Cold exposure and breath work allowed me to thrive.
And then eventually I kind of hit bottom and just realized, like, this is not the lifestyle I want. This is not the person I want to be. Nothing about the life I'm living is what I want. And that's when I really stepped outside of my box and, you know, asked for help on a level that I never thought I would. And that was with Veterans Exploring Solutions. And so I went to Mexico to do some psychedelic treatments and therapy. And that was the shift for the rest of my life. And so that was January 2020. And from then till now, there's been a whole new direction in life, whole new outlook in life, whole new thought process in life. That moment was a huge pivotal moment in my life that set me on a whole different track.
Absolutely. And I want to jump into that moment. Before we do that, can you kind of explain what that rock bottom looked like for you, just in case people are there right now?
So for me, you know, I was functional in life, meaning I could still work out, I could still hold a job, but I was drinking almost every day. And that doesn't mean, you know, hammered drunk, like on the weekends. Weekends I'd be hammered drunk, but that could mean like maybe 1 bottle of wine a night to 2 bottles of wine a night, and just be normal, not normal, but like I wouldn't be extremely intoxicated or anything, but I'm drinking to the point where, 1 to 2 bottles of wine isn't really affecting me anymore. So the alcohol intake increased dramatically, just overspending money on booze. And then as that continued, though, working out slowed down a lot, to be less and less. Any type of hobbies I enjoyed or brought me happiness, those kind of went to the wayside too. So eventually I got to the point where I stopped doing anything I really liked, and I was just drinking and hanging out.
Absolutely. Were you experiencing, depression, anxiety during this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I didn't even realize I had depression or anxiety. That stuff had just been part of my life for so long that it took me my normal therapy treatments and then some other friends that are therapists to kind of step back and like talk to me about it. And then they're the ones that brought it to my life that, man, you might be like seriously depressed right now and seriously anxious. But my level of anxiety and depression and whatnot was so high that I just got used to it. It was normal for me.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started taking steps back and like addressing these issues, I realized how serious it was and like how far off the reservation I'd really walked.
Absolutely. So was it therapy that kind of allowed you to start to realize those things, or was it the moment that you had with vets? Which kind of came first?
I've done therapy throughout my whole life. So at that point, therapy was more of a Band-Aid. It would just help me get from week to week. And I was going through an extremely toxic breakup with one of my exes. So I really started going back to therapy to deal with those issues. And then those issues also led to, peeling back that onion and realizing I've got these other underlying issues too. One, because of my lifestyle, but two, because of, external things such as ex-girlfriends and whatnot, whatever's going on in my life. So that started it and that highlighted it. And that's when I was really starting to hit bottom, and I realized I had all these other issues going on as well. So that's when I decided to do the VETS treatment. And then the VETS treatment opened up a whole new, path and direction.
Yeah, let's jump into the VETS treatment. Obviously what Marcus and Amber and all of them are doing is amazing. And there's just, I think there's so much hope in psychedelic research, and I would love for you to jump into your experience and how that might've helped you.
I do. I mean, it changed my life, changed my path. Like I wouldn't be where I am today without that treatment for sure. And I think Marcus and Amber, their story is incredible too. And for them to be brave to try the treatment, to, work out their issues, that whole process, and them that, gave them the courage and insight to start VETS. And then the VETS now has turned around and helped, hundreds and hundreds of people like myself. So VETS, we went down to Mexico and did 2 psychedelics, did Ibogaine the first night, and then 2 days later we did 5-MeO DMT. A lot of people know it as maybe the God molecule. That was heavy. That was really, really heavy. That's the drug that, I feel did the most to me and changed me. And basically that drug hit me in a way and scared me so bad that I turned back to my faith, to Christianity.
Would you mind kind of going into that experience with first Ibogaine and what that was like, and then DMT? So I guess first starting with Ibogaine and kind of the differences between the two experiences.
Sure. So Ibogaine, we took 2 huge capsules. And then everyone was in a room. We had, the nurses, doctors, shamans, everyone hanging around. And then you take your capsules, and then you lay down on a bed and kind of just wait for it to hit you. And then it hits really hard. And for me, it helped me in some ways. saw a lot of stuff, heard a lot of stuff. But for me, I felt like it was a pretty bad trip overall. I puked a lot, probably an 8-hour cycle from the whole experience. It was heavy. It was really heavy. I've never experienced anything like that.
How long did it feel? How long did the 8 hours feel?
8 hours felt like, probably 15. They were pretty heavy. I mean, it hits you deep. So that was one experience. I didn't really know what to expect fully. And I took some things away from it. They give you a journal and you can write your afterthoughts and feelings and stuff. So I took some things away from it. And then you take a day off and then you do DMT. DMT is way heavy. You can do up to 3 hits. The first hit I did was like an Austin Powers trip. That's how I describe it. Like super colorful and prisms and shapes and colors and circles, and you feel super euphoric. You feel like you're floating. Your breathing like calms way down. It was a good high, and especially compared to the first, Ibogaine I did, this was amazing, like super amazing. It was still heavy though. Like it felt intense, but I was still relaxed and calm. No sickness, no puking, nothing. So it was cool. It was good. And you can ask for, your second hit or third hit. And at the time I was like thinking to myself, do I want a second one? That was pretty heavy. But I feel okay. I think I'll do a second one. So I do a second one. They keep a blindfold on you. And this time you're in the room by yourself, with the doctors and shamans and nurses and whatnot. So they sit you up, you smoke your next bowl, and they laid me back down. As soon as I hit the mattress, I spring up, like sit up, rip off the blindfold, and I'm in a new world. I'm in a 4th dimension world. I can see everything in the room. I can see myself, see my hands, see the people. I know where I'm at. I know what's going on, but I'm in a new world, whole new world. And I puke a couple times then. And I'm struggling. Like I feel like my brain's starting to melt down, and I feel like I'm about to die in this world. And this is what I call the spirit world. So it's a whole new world that we just can't see, and it's there. It's real. It's real. And then I hear this voice in the back of my head that says, "Go jump off the balcony." We were on the 3rd level of a 3-story house, and this voice tells me to go jump off. So I go and do it. I go and unlock the door, and I'm about to go out and jump off and, I don't know, maybe kill myself. And that's the moment I realized the devil was speaking to me. So I said, fuck that. I turn around, and every person in that room had these black, long, droopy faces, kind of like, the best way I can describe it is like a Scream mask, the movie Scream. They all had these like demon faces. And I said, fuck that, fuck this, ripped off my shirt for whatever reason, I don't know. And then like ran downstairs, paced back and forth in the kitchen, paced back and forth in the living room. And this is me like starting to come down from it, but also realizing like what in the hell is going on and what world is this? And then after I pretty much come out of it, I sit on the ground for probably 5 to 7 minutes and just have a meltdown. Everyone just kind of let me do my thing, let me work through it. And then when I was ready, I stood back up and just kind of embraced everyone and just didn't know what the hell just happened. I mean, it was a different world, and it was intense, really intense.
Were they watching you like when you went outside? Like would you have potentially jumped?
So they have security in the room too, because they let you do whatever you're going to do, up until the point, as long as you don't hurt yourself or other people. So I never fully opened the door. I unlocked it. And I think if I would have opened it, they would have stopped me and grabbed me then. Otherwise, they stay like hands off
Right,
and
right.
just kind of do it. So I never fully opened the door and went out, but I unlocked it. And that's the moment I realized, like, no, that's the devil speaking to me.
Mm-hmm. So leaving that, I mean, just wild experience, how did your life start to change from then?
So from that moment forward, I took a really hard look at my life. That after that, I think I hit a new rock bottom, but in a good sense, not in a sense of like alcohol or drugs or anything, but in a sense of being 100% open and vulnerable with myself and taking a real hard look at where my life is, who the person I am, who the person I became, and just all my faults, all my wrongdoings, everything like negative about myself. I like peeled back and like just put it before me. And that's when I know I knew I needed a huge change. And that experience like pushed me back to my faith, Christianity. But here's, I think, a part of it too. The night before I left for Mexico, my buddy Jeff called me out of the blue and asked me if I wanted to do a security gig, like some private security stuff. And I said, yeah, sure. I'll give you a call when I'm back from Mexico. And he asked me if I was going to do the treatment. I said, yep. And he just said, you know, brother, be extremely careful. He goes, you know, I came back to my Christian faith. And he said that you're going to experience and see shit that's not part of this world. And, you know, you need to pray and, you know, ask God for protection and whatnot. And at this time in my life, you know, going to Mexico, I was not practicing my faith whatsoever. I was not, you know, being a good person or definitely not a good Christian by any means. So, and I didn't go to Mexico to find Jesus or God at all. That was not my intention. So it kind of like, you know, shook me a little bit. I was just kind of a little bit weirded out by it because I was already kind of stressed going to Mexico to do these psychedelic treatments anyways. And then he laid that on me too. I was, fuck, man, this is going to be intense. And then, you know, I did my experience and I came back and talked to him about it too. And he was just like, yeah, man, I told you it's that world's not for us. And so I think that experience, I think him, you know, coming back to his faith and then me hitting that new level of like wanting change and something new in life. I just didn't know where else to turn to, but like back to my faith, back to Christianity.
Mm-hmm. What has that journey looked like in your faith now?
It's good now. The first few months, you know, first 3 to 6 months, it was still pretty rough because I was addressing all of these issues that I didn't like about myself, everything. And the more I dove into my faith, the better I felt, but also it highlighted all of the negative or bad shit I was doing or the habits I had or who I was. And so it was spotlighting everything I didn't like about myself. So there was a good period there where I was, you know, not proud of the person I was. I was not happy. That, like, I think pushed me into another level of depression, but on a different level. But after a few months of changing habits, of, you know, cutting drinking out, of focusing on me, on my mental health, spiritual health, physical health, things turned around pretty quickly. Fast forward to today, you know, I read my Bible almost daily. I attend church weekly or watch it online or listen to, you know, last week's on a podcast or something. And there's growth there. And for the rest of my life, I know that this path will be good for me, but I'll never be a perfect human. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be Jesus Christ, and I don't want to be. So the growth is always going to be there. But if I can improve like 1% a day, you know, at the end of the year, that's 365%. And then times that over your lifetime, There's growth, more growth, more growth. And the more you shine the light on, bad parts or the negative parts of your life, those are parts where you can grow, where you can heal, where you can change. So my mindset now is like, when I do something stupid or when I screw up or make mistakes and I shine the light on those areas that I'm failing in, I no longer feel, like a failure, or I no longer feel that I'm worthless, or it doesn't give me depression. It now shows me, okay, cool, this is an area I can improve on. This is an area I can get better at. Like, let's dive into it. Now, how do I fix this? How do I change this? How do I grow? And I dive into those areas until I feel good about it, until I feel confident about it. And then I move forward, I move on. And that might take me a couple hours. That might take me a few days. It might take me a week. But I shine light on those, shitty areas. I grow, I heal, I change, I move, and I keep going forward. And it doesn't hold me back. It doesn't pull me down. Those areas now that I trip and stumble on are areas for growth, and growing is good. Growing is healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.